Ready for a wild ride? Today we're diving deep into Walmart, how it went from a tiny dime store to, well, the Walmart.
Yeah, it's one of those stories, makes you wonder about the twists and turns on the road to success.
Right. It's not always a straight shot to the top. And with Sam Walton, Walmart's founder, it started with, honestly, a lot of instability. Born in 1918, Great Depression era, his family moved constantly for his dad's farming jobs.
And that's what I find so interesting, that early experience, it seemed to fuel his drive. You picture little Sam helping with family finances, delivering papers, even a milk route for his mom. Talk about learning hard work young.
Not your typical CEO upbringing, huh? And speaking of which, we got to talk about his time at, of all places, JCPenney. The sources don't paint a pretty picture, do they?
It's almost funny, right? Future Walmart founder, struggling with the paperwork at a chain store. He was a natural with customers, though, even made extra with commissioned salesmen in the making. But the admin stuff, not his forte.
Almost got canned for it. You'd think that'd scare someone off retail forever.
Or, and here's a thought, maybe that's the turning point. Those early frustrations, all that bureaucracy, maybe it planted the seed for Walmart's efficiency later on. He learned firsthand what not to do.
Yeah, they say failure's a good teacher, right?
hmm
But before we get into his own ventures, there's another big influence, World War II. Walton served in military intelligence, became a captain even.
War changes everyone. And for someone with leadership potential, did that time sharpen his decision-making, his ability to strategize under pressure? Who knows?
It definitely coincided with big life changes. Met his wife, Helen, started their family. Feels like that period, it was about laying the groundwork, personally, professionally, for everything to come.
And what a foundation to build on. War's over, he's got these experiences, ready to leave his mark. Which brings us to his first real crack at the retail world.
So the war's over. Walton's got that fire in his belly, and he goes for it, buys a Ben Franklin franchise.
Mm.
Kind of surprising, right?
Yeah.
These small town stores, they weren't exactly known for being successful back then.
You'd think JCPenney would have soured him on the whole franchise thing, wouldn't you? But this is where you see Walton's mind at work. This wasn't just any Ben Franklin, it was a dud. Losing money, hand over fist, stuck with this awful lease, 5% of sales just for rent. Most folks, they'd run screaming.
Sounds like a nightmare. What did he see that everyone else missed?
Maybe not seeing the future, but he definitely knew how to spot an opportunity. He understood the rules of the game, but he wasn't afraid to bend 'em, break 'em even. Like sourcing products, instead of sticking with Ben Franklin's usual suppliers, he went straight to the source, got cheaper goods that way.
Smart move, cutting costs. But there's got to be more to it than that.
Oh, absolutely. He had this other strategy, and it's a big one. He focused on volume over big profit margins. Sell a ton of stuff at low prices, make it up in volume. It was unheard of at the time.
And that's where his whole customer first thing really comes in. This wasn't just about beating the competition. It's about making things affordable.
Exactly. He knew people would stick with a store that gave them good prices. And he was always looking for ways to make their lives easier, better product selection, you name it.
And this whole low price, high volume thing, it worked. His Ben Franklin store, it became the place to be. But then, just when things are looking up, another curveball.
It's like something out of a movie, right? Triumph, then bam, tragedy.
He loses the lease on his Ben Franklin, the store he'd put his heart and soul into. I'd be crushed. You'd think that'd be it. Game over. But not Walton. He packs up, moves the family to Bentonville. Arkansas decides to start over. His own store this time. No more franchises. New town, clean slate, 1950. Walton opens Walton's Five and Dime. You got to figure, this is make it or break it time, right?
I'd say so, yeah. He's had wins, but those losses, they sting. And even in Bentonville, not everyone sold on him. Some folks probably saw that store, figured another one bites the dust.
What do you think it was that kept him going? He'd seen how tough retail is. Why risk it all again?
That's the entrepreneur, right? That fire in the belly. I've got this idea, and I'm going to make it work. Plus, he never stopped learning, always adapting. And this is where it gets good. This is where Walmart, as we know it, starts to form.
This is the discount king superstore strategy, yeah.
Bingo. He gets obsessed with this self-service idea. Imagine customers picking their own stuff, no salespeople hovering around, totally new back then.
Hard to imagine not having self-service now. What made him think people were ready for that?
He saw it as faster, cheaper, and those savings, they get passed on to the customer. He was willing to shake things up if it meant a better experience. But he doesn't just stop there. He takes this gamble, opens massive discount stores, but in small towns, and get this, Low prices on everything, not just a few sale items.
Gutsy move, for sure. Back then, everyone was chasing the big city dollars. Why small-town America?
He knew folks out there, they were driving miles and miles just to find a bargain. He brought the bargains to them,
Smart.
right?
And he put his money where his mouth was. Literally.
No kidding. Took on debt, mortgaged his house, talk about all in. But it worked. Walmart explodes. Not just a store, it's the store. Everything you need, one stop, cheap.
So low prices, convenience, that's huge. But there's something else his employees. The sources talk about how different he treated them.
Night and day. This wasn't just, hey, here's a paycheck. This was profit sharing, stock options, treating them like partners. Unheard of.
He knew. Happy employees, happy customers, right?
Exactly. When employees feel valued, they work harder, customers notice, everybody wins. Of course, not everything's sunshine and roses. We got to talk about the impact on small businesses. That's been a big criticism.
Yeah, tough one. Hurts some, helps others. No easy answers there. That's what makes this so interesting, though, right? The story. Innovation, risks, that customer focus, but also these complicated questions. Sam Walton, he passed away in 1992, but his impact, it's everywhere. Changed how we shop, changed the world, really. Makes you think, how do we balance growth, good prices, and doing right by everyone? Something to chew on, huh? That's the story of Walmart, folks. From a little dime store to a retail giant. What will you take away from our deep dive today?